The reason we are working here, it is not because of the money. This one, it is our country, and we have to help our people. Like now, we have a lot of patients suffering in the remote area. We have to go and collect them. So, and when people are overlooking you and there is no any consideration, no sharing idea, that one, it is very hard to work.
This is something we don't want. It's clear we don't want these situations, and I talked about it the other day, and I say it now again, that the situation now, the emergency pushed us to a limit, and especially you and the logistic in general, but drivers included. And I think it's too much, and that's why we decided last week not to go to Nabakok, and now we decided not to go to Langkap.
With mounting evidence of a nutritional crisis gripping the area, the MSF team heads off to another outlying field clinic at a village called Akop. The vehicles are stacked with ration packs. It's another gruelling journey. First, the lead 4x4 gets bogged down. Then the second. Only when a third vehicle comes from Marial Lou are all pulled out of the mud. The 44-kilometre trip takes them 4 hours. By the time they arrive, a big crowd has gathered, a sure sign the hunger is serious. Civil war and failed harvests are to blame. The Dinka say this year the rains were so heavy they destroyed crops. But some detractors think the people are getting used to food aid, something MSF wants to avoid. Sunta Angong, a mother of 4, gets a 4.5 kilo bag of a premix of corn, soya, sugar and oil. It's meant for the youngest, but she asks how she can feed only one when 3 others go hungry. While the children eat, the adults look on. Some of them admit they are tempted to eat the premixed food themselves, but they say it tastes disgusting. Sunta's neighbour, Akur Mar, says that she thought the end of the civil war would mean an improvement in their lives. Above all, that they could return to food self-sufficiency. It hasn't happened yet. Food drops were promised, but those haven't happened either. Forced to pick and cook green leaves, Akur says she's forgotten what real food looks like.
There's a chronic situation of malnutrition, which makes the population very fragile. And if the situation deteriorates at a certain moment, there'll be a peak. That's what happened in 2001, and what is certainly happening this year. And very surely it's going to happen next year, because it's been 2 years that hasn't been enough rains, and food distribution is insufficient, and so on.
Karima Hamadi from France has been with MSF for 8 years. She's a nutritional nurse by training. She's worked some tough assignments, but for her, Marial is the toughest. Today, her problem is that 40 mothers who were supposed to pick up food for their infants have failed to turn up. Karima thinks her team is at fault.
They always go to Ngaba. They will not come here because Marial Lou is far for them.
They're protesters. They must have French origins.
What are they demanding?
They're demanding the right not to work.
In fact, they don't want to walk, right?
Sure. One of the ideas was to increase the crew, to cover more villages. Me, I'm against it, because as long as we can't do anything with the existing crew, I don't feel like controlling 15 guys who do zilch. First, let's see what they can do, then we'll see. If they really work well and they bring back the children, or at least find the reasons why the children aren't coming, we'll think about increasing the crew to cover more villages.
Yesterday night, the water was...
This man has one of the most daunting jobs in MSF. Olivier Baron is the logistics coordinator with the task of getting the people and goods into Marial Lou. He combines this with being air traffic controller, for it is Olivier's call to decide whether a plane can land or take off.
But it's muddy.
That's why there are nice tracks. The problem is, if it lands by bad luck where there's accumulated water, the tyre gets stuck. The plane will spin, and when that happens, something breaks. After all, it's going at 150 kilometers an hour.
And if there is a crash?
If there is a crash, the airstrip's destroyed. So we'll have to wait for the dry season to fix it. That's why we have to be very careful before giving an OK for the plane to land.
It's August. The harvest is not as good as expected. The people are more dependent on their cattle than ever. The killings in Darfur in Western Sudan are attracting world attention. The World Food Programme gets just 30% of what it asks for and can make only one food drop in the Marial Lou area.
South Sudan is forgotten, that's for sure. After 22 years of civil war, South Sudan is completely forgotten, like other countries, like Somalia, Angola, the north of Uganda. For sure, it's a situation that's been forgotten.
Rebel leader John Garang is sworn in as Vice President of Sudan. 3 weeks later, he dies in a helicopter crash. Is it an accident or an assassination? Riots break out. Without a durable peace to enable roads to be built, the rural hospital and its food stations will struggle to meet local needs, and Marial Lou will retain its reputation as MSF's most demanding posting. Next week, on Doctors on the Front Line, we are at the MSF Centre in Honduras, which gives hope to the young victims of street violence.